The State Department move comes less than 2 weeks after Russian authorities seized Gershkovich on March 29th and charged him with espionage. The Wall Street Journal and the U.S. government strongly deny the allegation. This designation means his case will now be handled by a U.S. Special Envoy who specializes in these matters. U.S. Embassy officials have not yet been granted access to Gershkovich, though lawyers have met with him at a prison in Moscow.
NPR's Greg Myrie reporting. Police in Louisville, Kentucky continue to search for a motive in yesterday's mass shooting downtown at a bank. 5 people were killed and 8 wounded. Police shot and killed the gunman at the scene. He was a bank employee. One of 2 black lawmakers expelled from the Tennessee legislature last week for taking a gun control protest to the House floor is back at the state capitol. From member station WPLN, Blaise Gainey reports the Nashville Metro Council appointed Representative Justin Jones to fill his own vacancy.
It didn't take long for Representative Jones to be appointed, sworn in on the steps of the state capitol, and then to make his first remarks on the House floor.
I want to welcome democracy back to the people's house. That on last Thursday, members of this body tried to crucify democracy, but today we stand as a witness of a resurrection of a movement of a multiracial democracy that no unjust decision will stand.
Jones is the first of the 2 who were expelled by House Republicans to come back. In Shelby County, commissioners will meet Wednesday. They are expected to choose former Representative Justin J. Pearson, who was expelled along with Jones. For NPR News, I'm Blaise Gainey in Nashville.
You're listening to NPR News from Washington.
The time is now 4 minutes after 9 o'clock. This is WJCT News 89.9 Jacksonville. U.S. Congressman Maxwell Frost met with Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer and other leaders yesterday to discuss his bill that would set up a national office aimed at reducing gun violence. Danielle Pryor reports.
The Office of Gun Violence Prevention, which would be part of the Department of Justice, would bring together all the federal partners working on gun violence prevention in one place to better collaborate. Congressman Maxwell Frost says he's re-upping the call for this office after a bank shooting in Louisville on Monday morning and multiple Easter weekend shootings here in Orlando.
There's a cycle I've been witnessing over the past decade since I got involved in this fight. There's a shooting, there's death, thoughts and prayers, a vigil, maybe a rally, and then it seems like the whole world moves on.
Gun advocates say taking away people's guns or encouraging anti-gun education campaigns won't solve the problem. The Gun Violence Archive reports more than 11,500 people have already died in the U.S. from gun violence in 2023. Over half of those deaths are suicide-related. In Orlando, I'm Danielle Pryor.
And the temperature now in downtown Jacksonville is 64 degrees. It's mostly cloudy and windy. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible. Today's high near 72 degrees. Dropping to an overnight low in the low 60s. Wednesday will be mostly sunny and breezy with highs in the upper 70s.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Hint, maker of fruit-infused water with no sugar or diet sweeteners. Available in more than 25 flavors, including watermelon and pineapple. In stores or delivered from hintwater.com.
Thanks for listening. Just ahead, we'll tell you about the new community campaign seeking to unify Jacksonville. Give us a call at 549-2937. Then later, teachers fighting back against banned and restricted books. We'll tell you about the new group and speak to the co-founders of Rebel Readers. That's coming up. But first this hour, it's called I Am Jax, and it's a new community campaign from One Jax and the Together Strong Community Fund. Now, the goal of I Am Jax is to highlight how our differences can bring us together and hopefully solve some of the issues facing the 904. Organizers say they saw the need for I Am Jax after a spike in public expressions of anti-Semitism and hate in Jacksonville. The campaign went live this week on multiple channels. Let's take a quick listen.
I work for the Jaguars, and I am Jacksonville.
I'm Allie. This is my awesome family. and we are Jacksonville.
There it is. Let's find out more about I Am Jax as we welcome Kyle Reese, Executive Director of One Jax. Good morning.
Good morning, Melissa.
And David Miller with the Together Stronger Fund via the Jewish Federation. Hey, David.
Hey, how are you, Melissa?
All right, we're talking about I Am Jax, a new unity campaign for Duval, everybody. Give us a call. What are your questions? How important do you think it is for the city to reject messages of hate and division? Give us a call now. It's 549-2937. Emails to First Coast Connect at wjct.org. Tweets to @MelissaInJax. Facebook open too. So Kyle Reese of One Jax, let's begin with you. This has long been the message of your organization. So what prompted this new campaign, I Am Jax?
So thanks for recognizing that. So one of the things that we've done for several years, whether it be at our Interfaith Gratitude Service or at our Humanitarian Awards, is to do a interfaith clergy processional where each clergy person identifies himself or herself, their faith tradition, and then says, I am Jacksonville. And so we have long wanted to bring this to the broader community. And so when Together Strong gave us the opportunity to do that, given all of the divisiveness that we find in our world, we were more than willing to do it.
Now we're going to see the I Am Jax campaign on billboards, social media, streaming, other places. David Miller, we've seen divisive hate speech about race, religion, Confederate monuments, sexual identity, and gender identity. All of this has been spiking. And so how motivated were you to participate in this? Because you're one of the founders of the Together Stronger Fund that formed to combat the anti-Semitic hate speech that we've been suffering through in Jacksonville for a while now.
Well, myself and like so many of my fellow residents, we saw these things, and really the divisive actions and talk by so many of these folks, they're just self-serving, and they don't represent who Jacksonville really is. And so for me, it just felt like, and so many folks, like we're being told we're something that we're just not. And so this was just a natural, decision for us to really pull together and have people focus on the reality that's all around us.
And that reality hasn't been a very pretty one lately. We need your ideas. Let's not make this our permanent reality.
Well, I think what it shows us is that we get more of what we focus on. And the campaign just highlights the fact that we're all really different in Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a loving community, a supporting community, a community of hope, and a community that works together. And I think what we've seen, in spite of those hate things, I think the message, the reality of that message is that because of that, we brought together a coalition that is as strong and broad as we've ever seen in Jacksonville. Some of the largest employers in Jacksonville, city government, the not-for-profit community, all pulling together and donating money. What was non-existent before this hate talk is now over $1.6 million and represents the largest and most respected not-for-profit organizations in the city. And I think, when you look at that, it's pretty impressive that defines what Jacksonville is, not the act of one or two people, but really the coalition of so many people, not only, talking with their feet, but with their pocketbooks as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think people were so horrified when we saw anti-Semitic flyers over overpasses in the city, digital anti-Semitic hate speech broadcast onto the Jaguars Stadium and other downtown buildings. People have rallied against this. Now, at the same time, we should also point out that the Jacksonville Jewish Federation, Family Foundations of Northeast Florida, the Jaguars, CSX, and United Way have joined in this I Am Jax effort. It's 549-2937. Kyle Reese, your organization, One Jax, had been affiliated for some years with the University of North Florida, but you had to become independent because there have been clashes with state politics affecting public university funding. The state's public colleges and universities are now caught up in these culture wars emanating from Tallahassee. You've gone fully independent to get this message out.
We have, and again, we come with nothing but gratitude for the University of North Florida for the 13 years that we were able to be an institute there. But now we have the freedom to really share this message that diversity is not something to be afraid of. It's something to be proud of. And one of the things we want to get across in this campaign, that the hate messages, it's a two-pronged response. Number one, you have to respond immediately. But the long game is to say, no, this is who Jacksonville is, and it's a beautiful diversity of people, and we are grateful that we have the freedom, the resources, and partnerships to be able to celebrate that.
Now, if you go to their website, imjacksonville.com, you'll get a free I Am Jacksonville button you can wear to let others know you're part of this initiative. The campaign will run through the end of April, and it may come back in the fall. Is that right?
Yeah, this is something that has been on the drawing board for a while, and we were grateful to be able to step in initially to help with funding. But I'll tell you what Kyle just said, that the other part is not just initially saying things, but it's doing things. And One Jacks is a wonderful organization that makes that possible, the education piece, the interaction piece. They're actually doing that work and bringing people together from different backgrounds just so they understand each other. Understand about being able to have civil conversations and understand in today's environment when so many people are in their own bubble, it's now more important than ever. And without an organization to deliberately do that work, it just doesn't happen. So we're grateful for their work and their effort, and those who are joining in the community to support that work.
Some of this is education and awareness, but are you also trying to bring people of different traditions and beliefs together, like physically together?
Very much. That's the work that we do on a daily basis. But as far as this campaign goes, we'll have another round of ads and a campaign in the fall. And then in early 2024, the second phase of I Am Jacksonville is we anticipate hosting neighborhood block parties throughout the city to make sure, do we really know our neighbors? We know that we live on the same street, but what do we have in common, and how are we different? And yet we still share this space. So we're really looking forward to the transformative possibility of conversation and listening.
I love a good block party.
There
that
you go.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, let's go to your calls about the new I Am Jacks campaign. 549-2937. Lisa on the South Side. Hello, Lisa. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I can't contribute financially, but I'd like to know how I can contribute to the I Am Jacks program.
Sure.
Well, we need your energy. We need your support. If you just go to I Am Jacksonville and fill out that form, there's no financial commitment necessary. We'll get you a button, and then wherever you go, wear it proudly, and we'll see what sort of community can be built out of this. Thank you.
Yeah, Lisa, just go to imjacksonville.org and send them your email address. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Here's a quote about this from Jacksonville Mayor Lenny Curry. He says, "Hate of any kind has no home here, and divisions cannot be allowed to take root in our city. I commend our nonprofit community for committing to that message and working together for a better Jacksonville for all." Now, of course, Mayor Curry is termed out after 2 terms on the 4th floor of Jacksonville City Hall. We will have a new mayor next month. Will you be asking whoever wins that runoff election to carry this message forward? David Miller.
Yeah, absolutely. And, quite frankly, I am sure they will, regardless of who wins. I think, we see so much divisiveness in politics, but at the end of the day, our elected leaders have been very clear that this doesn't have a place in our community. And I think we just need to stay centered around that this is not a political statement about anything other than, Jacksonville needs to continue growing, reaching our potential, and investing in our people in all kinds of ways. And regardless who wins, I know we'll have that support, and looking forward to that.
549-2937. Amy in Nocatee. Hello, Amy.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Good morning. Yeah, I recently moved here from South Florida. I live in Nocatee, and I can assure you that as a Jew, I have found Jacksonville to be hostile to Jews and to people who are considered outsiders. I miss the diversity of South Florida, and I think this campaign is desperately needed to help ensure that all are welcome from all parts of the state, all parts of the country, and all parts of the globe.
I'm so sorry you've experienced that, Amy, and I so appreciate your call. And, you know, Kyle Reese,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you, Amy and Nakati. Kyle Reese, you know, we hear that a lot from people who perceive that this community needs to be more inclusive.
Well, I think I would argue that every community needs to be more inclusive. So we've got to own the ways in which we need to expand our boundaries, the ways in which we need to expand our relationships. But we can. Part of this is an honesty that we do have work to do. And we never want to look over the challenges that we face, but there's got to be some guiding star for the path forward, and we hope that this campaign will help do that, and that Amy will feel welcome in this space.
That's the goal. You want everyone to feel safe, valued, welcome, not marginalized, not uncomfortable.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You can, it's hard to stop thinking about something that, but it's a lot easier to go towards something. And so, you know, many people are, you know, when it comes to hate and that sort of thing, people are saying, well, we need to stop hate. Well, it's a lot easier to just focus on what brings us together. What do we share? What do we have in common? And that's, I think, where the effort is. And I think you're seeing, Amy spoke about the Jewish community. The Jewish community has taken the opportunity to be more involved and engaged in this work, and I think that's really important. In the past, the Jewish community in particular might have looked inside and said, you know, we need to, you know, batten the hatches and support each other. And now I think there's an understanding that anything good that happens in our community is going to happen when we all work together. And it's not just one community looking out for themselves, but we all have a say in this.
And you've really led in that way. And so kudos to you for being proactive and getting that message out and working with lots of different people like Kyle.
Well, Kyle, absolutely. And there are so many. You know, you mentioned some of the supporters. Florida Blue is another. Deutsche Bank's another. Haskell's another. I mean, there's so many of these wonderful companies that have deep traditions in Jacksonville and employers, you know, that have been fantastic, and employees and, you know, so many folks who are joining in this coalition who are just saying, this is who we are. And I think that's pretty special.
For people that don't know, you're also the CEO of Brightway Insurance, right?
Well, I'm the co-founder.
Co-founder.
We have a new and improved CEO, someone who's far better than I. So,
but and I should disclose, I went through Leadership Jacksonville with your brother, so I've known your family for years. I want to ask you, David. You know, you come at this, I would think, at least in part, from a business perspective. Mm-hmm. This isn't good for business. Hate and ugly messages and division and negative national headlines.
Well, it's interesting. When the hate first came out, I was doing a national interview, and you know, I was doing it from the standpoint as just a business person responding from a business case, and whether you're a business person or you're retired or you're you know, just a citizen of Jacksonville, you realize that this was something that was like put on us, but it wasn't us. It was like a suit that just didn't fit right. And for whatever reason, some individuals chose to target Jacksonville. But you know what's interesting is that because they did that, because of that, we now have this amazing coalition. We have that we probably wouldn't have had, and we're being deliberate. Just as Kyle said, we have an opportunity here, but every community has an opportunity.
Okay, here's an email from Wells Todd of the group Take 'em Down Jacks. A step towards racial healing would be to remove the remaining Confederate statues. Will I Am Jacksonville stand with us in this struggle, he says. Kyle.
Well, One Jacks has stood with them and will continue to do that. That's not the goal of I Am Jacksonville. That is a very specific campaign, but he knows that One Jack stands with them, and we've been very vocal about that.
Okay. 549-2937. Shannon at the Beaches. Hi, Shannon.
Hey. Yeah, hey there. How are you?
Good. What are your thoughts about I Am Jax?
Okay. Well, I'm all in. I'm excited about it. But I am a yoga teacher at the beach. I've been teaching yoga for quite a while. And I just want to kind of offer out that I'd be willing to teach a yoga event for the organization, either at the beach, on the beach, or at one of the upcoming block parties, just to add a little bit of, movement to it, if that's something that they're interested in.
That sounds cool. Thanks, Shannon.
Love it.
That would be great.
I'm in.
Yes.
All right. So, Shannon, you need to go to their website and shoot them an email and a little message
I'll
about
do
that.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Talk about
Nice.
building community.
So that's the kind of thing you're looking for, isn't it?
Yeah, it's look, this is who we are. I mean, when you go around Jacksonville and you see how many great things are happening. I just like this weekend I did twice. I went over the new walking bridge by the Fuller Warren and seeing how packed it was. How many different people and just interacting, smiling and walking and enjoying what is so special about our community.
I've said this for years. When you cross one of the bridges that has a walking path, like in particular, I noticed it on the Main Street Bridge, but now you'll see it on the Fuller Warren. That is the true Jacksonville.
That's right.
You see people of all ages, races, genders, backgrounds. You see retirees. You see families with kids. You see young women. You see just everybody walking or running the bridges. That, to me, is the true city. It is a diverse and vibrant mix of people.
And that's why this campaign, we were charged with, let's tell people who Jacksonville really is, and let's work toward a Jacksonville where everybody feels a part of this community. So I had the privilege, along with many others, of being part of the conversations about placemaking and the DuPont Fund. And one of the things that continually came up was the great diversity of folks who enjoy the river. How do we build community around that? So there are some really great things happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, here's an email from a listener. What is the website again? I want to join and get notifications. The website is iamjacksonville.org, a new community campaign that went live Monday. If you go to iamjacksonville.org and enter your email address, you will get an I Am Jacksonville button that you can wear and find out about other ways you can join in this effort. And so, David Miller, what else can people do to join I Am Jax?
I think we're all spreading the word. It's it's wonderful how we can all be part of community. There's social media. Please share it on social media. And when we're talking and interacting with our neighbors, our friends, people we come across, I think, this is a great water cooler kind of conversation. And pride starts one person at a time. Mm-hmm. And so, anyways, I think yes, and yes.
Well, thank you both so much. Kyle Reese, Executive Director of One Jax, and David Miller with the Together Stronger Fund. Again, go to iamjacksonville.org for more. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And much more still ahead. Coming up, we'll tell you about public scooter tours where you can check out what's going on downtown. Also, rebel readers, former teachers, push back against book bans in schools. But up next,
an opportunity to experience activities that they normally would not have exposure to and allow them to be successful in some fun summer camp activities.
we've got tips on choosing the best summer camp for your special needs child. We'll be right back. Summer camp that they will enjoy and that fits their needs and, most importantly, your budget. For parents of kids with special needs, it's important that your little one not just have fun and stay safe, but also that over the summer they're engaged in activities that fit their specific physical and developmental needs. So what are the things you need to be aware of when picking that best summer camp? For more, I spoke with Sherry Henderson, co-founder of Henderson Haven and Camp Possible.
Sherry, good to be with you. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Good to see you again.
So, what is Henderson Haven?
Henderson Haven is a local nonprofit, and we support adults and children with developmental disabilities in a variety of different services.
And much needed, of course. So, What are the benefits of a child with special needs, or any child really, to attend a summer camp?
It gives them an opportunity to experience activities that they normally would not have exposure to. It gives them a chance to interact with peers and have staff that understand their needs and can meet them and allow them to be successful in some fun summer camp activities.
Now, if you have a child with special needs, of course, they often have specific physical or behavioral challenges that need to be accommodated. How do you match those needs to a camp that also provides the kids an entertaining and enriching experience?
Well, just like any child, you want to try and find a camp that has activities that interest your child. So if they love being outside, then making sure a camp has outdoor activities. If they love Legos, if they love computers, making sure that the camp addresses that. But at the same time, that they have staff on hand that understand the challenges that come along with different special needs, whether it's physical needs or behavioral needs, and can meet them and still make them be successful and have a fun summer activity.
Right. We all want our kids to have fun at these summer camps, but safety can be a big concern, too, if you're the parent of a special needs child or children. Lots of kids have medical devices or they need constant monitors. What should parents look for to make sure the camp they choose is equipped to keep their camper safe?
Parents should ask lots of questions to find out what the staff to the camper ratio is going to be, how are volunteers going to be utilized, what safety things do they have in place already, do they have cameras, do they have doors that have limited access, and do they have an emergency plan ready to go, and then just to make sure that the staff have experience and that they're ready to go. Parents, and in that, parents also have a duty. They need to make sure that they've given the camp as much information about what to expect with their child, not to hold anything back, to be honest and be upfront so that the camp can make sure that they can meet their child's needs.
Now, our kids have aged out of the summer camp years, but one thing I remember was cost was always a concern. We were always looking for something that was fun but didn't cost too much. If you're looking for the best camp for a special needs child, how do you find one that's within most people's budget?
It's really hard, I have found, over the last several years as we started developing Camp Possible at Henderson Haven, to find something that was affordable. You've just got to ask lots of questions. Sometimes if you start early enough, there are some organizations that offer scholarships to parents. We at Henderson Haven are trying to get more sponsors and some actual people to fund some scholarships for some students who may not have access. We also made it where if they sign up early, they get $100 off.
Wow, that's good. Now, as the parent of a child with Down syndrome, you have such a personal connection to this. Right. You want to make camp accessible for more kids.
We do. We want kids to have fun experiences. We try to bring out crazy things that people say I shouldn't bring out for kids with special needs, but they're just kids, so they should get to have a lot of fun things, whether it's bounce houses, water slides. We will bring back the hot air balloon for Dr. Seuss Week. For the places you'll go, we get to go up in the hot air balloon. So that's really important to me, that they get to have access and the opportunity to experience some really fun summer camp activities.
And you're registering now for kids this summer, correct?
We are. We are starting to take registrations and get things set and filled up for camp. We're going to take 40 campers a week. Parents can sign up for the whole 6 weeks of camp, or they can sign up for 1 week at a time. And each week has a different theme, which may meet the interests of their child. So that's what is really important, that we keep it interesting and different.
Well, it's going to be a great summer, and congrats. She's Sherry Henderson, co-founder of Henderson Haven and their summer camp, Camp Possible, for children with special needs. HendersonHaven.org for more. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Well, they're a new group working to make multicultural, challenged, and banned books more accessible to readers here in Duval County, and they're making these books free. Former Duval educators Caitlin Johnson and Casey Rossio are the co-founders of Rebel Readers, and they're here now in studio. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. Good morning. Thank you for having us.
And here's our question to callers. Have you been alarmed at the news about challenged and banned books in local schools, empty library shelves, concerns about the restriction of literature and books? Give us a call as we talk with the founders of Rebel Readers. What are your questions? The number, 549-2937. Caitlin Johnson, let's begin with you. You and Casey here both used to be teachers in Duval County and left the profession last year, like a lot of teachers have done. Why'd you leave?
Well, I've had a baby, but in addition to that, it was it's emotionally taxing on teachers. You're really trying to instill a love for education and a passion for learning, and there are just so many things in the way of that. A lot of red tape, and at the end of the day, I felt like my efforts were best served in my home for right now.
Okay, and Casey, the same for you?
So yes, kind of like what Caitlin said, there was a lot of red tape involved and a lot of circumstances in the day-to-day that were out of our control. And I felt like my talents would be best served outside the classroom where I could still teach, but in a way that we kind of design and are able to create ourselves.
So how then did the idea for Rebel Readers come about?
Well, we actually were just kind of going for a walk, and we know that there are certain areas, more so than others in Jacksonville, that have access to the free little libraries. And we were like, you know what? We should just put some books in these libraries, and it kind of just caught on, and that's just 2.5 weeks later, here we are.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, I should just make an Instagram about it and just, let people know when we're dropping books. And if people want to follow along, that's great.
So basically what you're doing is supplementing the free little libraries that we see in neighborhoods throughout the city, but particularly those are in the urban core, older neighborhoods. You're making a point of putting multicultural, challenged, or banned titles in the free little libraries, books that have been removed from school shelves. Is that right?
Yes. And also, books that students are interested in, because we want them to have a passion for reading, but they should have access, and parents individually in their homes should have the right to choose what books are welcome. So if we provide them, they can decide whether or not they want to pick them up, and that's their choice.
What are some of the titles you've been putting in the free little libraries?
Let's see, we've got Handmaid's Tale,
Night
by
Elie Wiesel.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that's the Holocaust survivor.
Yes,
was that a challenge book?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a challenge book. Actually, one of the most, that and To Kill a Mockingbird are one of the most challenged books in the United States, and we chose those to do blind date with a book, just so that people would see it based off of what it's about and not the cover, and immediately think, oh wow, this is banned. So,
okay, and these are books that, it's my understanding, have been removed from public school shelves in Duval County. Even a book about Hank Aaron and Rosa Parks, Roberto Clemente, controversially, those were at least temporarily removed for vetting and review. So these are the kind of books that you're trying to make available. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, that's correct. One of the titles that really surprised me, and we were just talking about this while we were sitting out there, was there's a book called Separate But Not Equal, and that was removed. And or books about Carlos Santana. These are important to our history and our culture. Whether you agree or disagree, that shouldn't be the issue. It should be you should be able to read them so that you can learn whether you agree or disagree. That's how to
make those informed decisions.
Absolutely.
For listeners up in Georgia, you have a sister chapter in Georgia called Rebel Readers Georgia.
Yes.
Is that in Atlanta or South Georgia?
Just north of Atlanta in the Gwinnett County area.
Is that where you got the idea?
No. So Rebel Readers Georgia is actually run by one of my best friends since childhood, Kaylee. And she was like, how can I help you? And I was like, start your own. And she was like, done and done. So she has been doing the most up there, and I'm very proud of her.
What are your questions about Rebel Readers? Give us a call, 549-2937. Sydney in Murray Hill. Hi, Sydney.
Hi, yes, thank you, Rebel Readers, for your cause. I am 100% behind you and have already been sneaking into the little libraries in Murray Hill and tossing in some good reads. Night, for example, was one of the most transformative books that I read in my youth, and I just firmly believe in what you're doing and the importance of children getting access to books. So thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. You know, Caitlin, in the first segment, we were talking about the I Am Jax Unity campaign to counter anti-Semitic and hate speech in Jacksonville. The book Night by Elie Wiesel is such a powerful testimony to the importance of countering hate, because, of course, it was hate and ignorance that led to the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
So these narratives are very much interlinked.
I mean, absolutely, and we were talking about that again while we were sitting out there. We were just so amazed at the I Am Jax campaign and what they're doing. Especially, there's a huge community of Jewish individuals here in Jacksonville, and I think it's important for people to feel welcome
and represented,
and represented. And I think that in literature such as Night, like that story has to be told so that we can understand why it's so important.
Right. Carter in Riverside. Hi, Carter. What are your thoughts?
Hi, good morning. So I wanted to call to say hi as well to Caitlin and Casey. As an educator in Duval County and a resident of the Riverside area, I have seen these amazing movements for little libraries start popping up. And then, unfortunately, some of them, as I'm sure the leaders of Rebel Readers know, get abandoned or are destroyed. So in connection with a story that just preceded, my question was about how do you see the community taking a role in building up and sponsoring and protecting these spaces? And it's nice to talk to you. I'll take my answer off the air.
Okay, thanks. Is it your goal to have more free little libraries built and
absolutely
stacked and supplied around town?
Absolutely.
Is that part of your effort?
Yes. So the thing about free little libraries is they have to be built on private property. So that actually kind of limits where they are able to be built because it limits it to property owners. Mm-hmm. So lots of individuals in those areas own their homes and are able to put up these free little libraries. When we're driving around other areas where people rent and don't own their homes, we're noticing book deserts.
Yeah, and we actually created a map last night, and there's actually an app where you can see where these libraries are located in your community, and there aren't really a lot closer to the west side and north side, and so we've kind of come up with ideas. Well, maybe at bus stops we can leave tubs of books, or
right.
Just ways to get the books out there until we can spark that community relationship where people are willing to put them on their properties, and we can help fund that with donations from our community.
You're currently planning to register as a nonprofit so you can seek donations.
Absolutely, yes. We're actually in the process of doing that this week.
We have a meeting tomorrow.
What are your questions for the founders of Rebel Readers, two former Duval County educators seeking to get multicultural, challenged, and banned titles into more hands through free little libraries? 549-2937. Bob in Murray Hill. Hello, Bob.
Yeah, I think that some books should be banned. There's been a lot of damage done to the world by folks who take things literally, which aren't intended as such. For instance, the Bible. I mean, there's a lot of folks out here, maybe 1 in 4, who think that the Noah's Ark was real, for instance, that the earth is
so
only 6,000
years old. So you're saying we should ban
old.
the Bible?
I do believe so, yeah, along with some other books, because a lot of folks don't have the intellectual wherewithal to know that they're reading things that aren't, intended to be taken literally. I mean, Mein Kampf, do you think Mein Kampf should be out there on the shelves?
Well, Mein Kampf is not banned in this country, even though it's certainly a book full of hate. But we do have pretty strong First Amendment protections in this country that allow for the free flow of information and literature, even literature that you might vehemently object to. But Bob, I appreciate the call. Caitlin, you want to answer his question?
I do, because my husband and I were kind of practicing for today, and he said, well, what are you going to say if someone says, should they put Mein Kampf in a little library? And I think the focus here is number one on age-appropriate K through 12 literature, and that's because that's what where schools are being attacked right now. We want to provide it for those kids that don't have it in their schools, but to the point where it's like most people don't have the intellect or whatever to decide not to act on those things. Well, I don't think that is something just because people don't want to educate themselves that we should take that right away. I think it's more important to make it accessible so that you can read every perspective and make an informed decision. But taking away the information doesn't solve the problem. It creates the problem.
A listener says via email, what about the fact that books and materials that were deemed improper for young children were found in school libraries? Do you agree that not everything should be allowed, he asks.
I do think that there are books that shouldn't be in a child's library. For example, if they have, sexual or lewd imagery, I mean, times change. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't be accessible somewhere in the community in case that, parents, again, have that right. But again, K through 12 literature is really what we're looking for that's age appropriate for K through 12.
Casey.
Yes, and it's important to remember that kids are all unique and they mature at different rates at different times, and which is why it's so crucial that the parents get the final say in determining what is age appropriate for their child. And when literature is removed from shelves, like it is being removed from classrooms, not just classroom libraries, but classrooms as well, that choice is removed from not only that student, but the parents.
Right. And honest or truly, it could help them foster their curiosity and develop as individuals, being able to have access to things that they're interested in.
We have a report up at our website, jackstoday.org, by Claire Heddles. She points out that Duval County Public Schools is having now to ask retired school librarians to come back and work part-time. They are scrambling to comply with new Florida book laws. A 20% vacancy rate in media specialist positions. Basically, they're school librarians. The only people who are vetted to look through thousands and thousands of books and decide what is going back on public school library shelves. Of course, many, many books were removed to comply with the new state law on this. Critics have called the law vague. That has given Duval, put Duval in the position of facing a mountain of books to review, and Duval schools have come under national scrutiny for this when video of empty library shelves, or mostly empty library shelves, have gone viral. They're trying to comply with Florida's longstanding anti-pornography law, the new Stop Woke Act, and the Parental Rights and Education law. Of course, those laws are both being challenged legally. But, they have a staff shortage in terms of complying with the law, which has led to many books being inaccessible, at least for now.
Right.
And so how much is that impacting or driving your effort?
Wholeheartedly.
One of the biggest things or biggest reasons we decided to do this is because as educators, we realize that literacy is declining. And so not having books,
it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. We really should be fostering this.
Sammy, all the way from Maryland on the phone. Hi, Sammy. How are you?
Hi.
Go ahead.
I'm good. So I really wanted to call and just commend you ladies. I follow you on Instagram, and it's really motivated me to start a Rebel Readers in Maryland. And I think, we are all just so fortunate to be able, we have the views that we have, even the view to consider even banning books, because we were fortunate to have the ability to read and make our own decisions. So I think it's an incredible cause, and I thank you both so much.
Thank you. On Facebook, Chris says, read banned books. They're usually very interesting.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so the best way to contact Caitlin and Casey, the co-founders of Rebel Readers, is go to their Instagram page, Rebel Readers Florida on Instagram. Rebel Readers Florida.
Yes.
And stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big things happening.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Caitlin Johnson and Casey Rossio, co-founders of the new group, Rebel Reader.
Folds with the Tallahassee Symphony Orchestra on Friday night. Then enjoy performances throughout the weekend by authors and musicians like Allison Russell, John Meacham, Amethyst Kia, John Paul White, and more. Word of South will also have kid-friendly performances and a book giveaway, making it a great event for the whole family. April 21st through 23rd in Tallahassee. See the full lineup at wordofsouthfestival.com.
Next time on The World, the peace deal signed in Northern Ireland 25 years ago changed people's lives.
There was always that continuing underlying feeling of threat and violence, but that's gone.
Still, the full promise of the Belfast Agreement remains unfulfilled. As President Biden visits Northern Ireland, we examine the peace deal that is still a work in progress. It's on The World.
This afternoon at 3, here on WJCT News 89.9.
I'm Deepa Fernandez. A new book looks at the flawed foster care system which neglected two birth families whose children were murdered by the couple who adopted them.
They were owed some dignity and some respect and an understanding that they were grieving, just as you would if your kids were murdered.
Next time on Here and Now.
Today at 2 on WJCT News 89.9.
States are moving to make it easier to kick disruptive students out of school. Concerns about bad behavior aren't new, but this post-pandemic push towards stricter discipline reflects growing fears about school violence and disorder. Next time on 1A, lawmakers, students, and teachers weigh in on how best to keep our classrooms under control.
Today, starting at 10 on WJCT News 89.9.
Welcome back. Well, are you curious about all of the new development downtown? If so, you're in luck. There's a fun new way to check it all out on a scooter. Laura Edgecombe is Director of Development for Build Up Downtown, and she's on the line with more about the public scooter tours they're kicking off this month. Hi, Laura.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. So there's so much happening in what are known as the North Bank Overlay Districts, Sports and Entertainment District, Cathedral Hill, the North Court, La Villa, the City Central, Brooklyn, the South Bank. You've decided over at Build Up Downtown to let people check it all out on a scooter. That sounds pretty cool. How did all this come about?
Well, rewind. Prior to Build Up Downtown's inception, Alex Zabakis, actually with GWB, was providing scooter tours for people that were interested. And then when we came along, he very much was like, you know what, you guys are better suited to do these tours. And for a while, we've been in existence for about a year and 3 months now, and we were really kind of low key about them, offering them to different, leadership groups and to organizations, construction organizations, and just people who were kind of curious and would ask questions. We would offer that to them, but we realized now a year and a half in that the reality is that we need to be able to offer these for anyone and everyone, right? The general public who wants to see what's going on, who wants to experience it boots on the ground, as opposed to just reading about it in a headline or going on our website or Invest ET Jack's website or wherever. Let's go. Let's go actually see what's going on. So we're offering them to the public now.
Nice. Now, scooters have been around downtown for some time. How is this different from what's already there?
So basically the way that it works is you'll meet with us. So you go to our website, you can click on the link, you can find the different days and times that we have the scooter tours available, like the tours themselves available. And then you'll meet us at Riverfront Plaza. And then for the next 2 hours, we scoot on scooters all around. It's truly a tour. You go to every stop, every different development project that's up and down the North Bank. And we'll talk about what's going on in the South Bank and Brooklyn and those sorts of things as well. It's much longer tour if we're trying to do those on scooters to get to those sides of the river. But we literally go stop by stop by stop, and we'll tell you what's going on every patch of grass and every pile of dirt and every historic building that's being preserved. We literally stop and talk about every one of the projects along the way.
Wow. And tell us a little bit more about Build Up Downtown itself.
Yeah. So we are a privately funded nonprofit that advocates and facilitates for three things. The first being preservation. We love our historic buildings, and we love our history. We think it's very important that we look to our past to help build our future, And so if we understand that you can't save every building, and we are very cognizant of that, but in reality, 9 times out of 10, there's a part of a building that you can preserve at the very least and build new around it. So we advocate and facilitate. We advocate for that, and then we also smart development. And we don't mean Alexas and nests and those kinds of things. We want great urban planning. We want good construction. We want architecture that fits within the district, the neighborhoods within the downtown district, and then great public spaces. We cannot ask anyone to come and spend their days and nights in downtown if there's nothing great to do, right? And that one really is the big one for us, is looking at all the, building up downtown to be that heartbeat of the city, just like in every other major city in the United States.
Now, Laura, what if people want to do the tour, but they don't want to ride on a scooter, or maybe they are not able to ride on a scooter?
100%. That is actually me at the moment. And so if you don't want to ride a scooter, we totally understand that. We're very fortunate. We've partnered also. So for our scooters, we've partnered with Bird. They are our scooter provider. They're fantastic. And then for the non-scoot scoots, as we call them, we partnered with Go Tuckin'. So we can go on a tuk-tuk, and that's a little bit different. Like, you wouldn't sign up through Eventbrite on that one. You would actually go to our website, and there's like a form you fill out. Or most people at this day and time have easy access. Just shoot us an email, and you just let us know, hey, we would love to do the development tour, or we have a really large group, right? And it's more than the amount of people that we can sign up for Eventbrite. We would like to do it, at 9 a.m. You can just contact us, and we will set up a different mode of transportation. We've done this tour actually even on chartered buses with 70 some odd people. So it doesn't have to be limited to just 10 or 15. It really just kind of depends on your group and your needs. But the public ones, it's really, it's kind of, how the Jackson does, like, their walking tours in the different neighborhoods, and there's different days and times you can sign up. We're trying to make this as accessible to anyone and everyone.
Now, the tours are April 13th and the 29th. To reserve your spot, go to buildupdowntown.org. A small percentage of the fee goes to Build Up Downtown. Are you going to lead any of the tours, Laura?
So right now the scooters are hard for me, but Alan DeVault, who's our executive director, who knows these tours like the back of his hand, will actually be the tour guide on the scooters. But if we do a different mode of transportation, I will be on those. And for the scooter tours, I will at least stop by at the beginning and say hello and welcome everyone. I love seeing our community. I love seeing their faces. I love interacting with those that are all, in this journey with us all together as we move forward with our future for the city.
Well, check it out, folks. Beginning this Thursday, April 13th, you can be part of a public scooter tour. It's the Build Up Downtown Jax Development Tour, seen by Scooter. Go to buildupdowntown.org and get your spot. Laura Edgecombe, thanks for being with us.
Coast Connect is provided by Baptist Health and the North Florida TPO.
Baptist Health is a proud supporter of First Coast Connect with Melissa Ross. Baptist Health, committed to building a healthier community for all